The Indiana Fever came out flat, lazy, lackadaisical, not prepared, not ready to play, didn't know they had a game. They looked uninspired out there.
That tone isn't just critical. It's a mix of frustration and pure disbelief. What we saw unfold on the court during this matchup was an uninspired, flat performance that left fans and analysts questioning the core identity of the Indiana Fever. On a night that should have been a massive celebration for the franchise, the collective energy was completely missing. The disconnect becomes even more bizarre when you realize what was actually happening behind the scenes. This wasn't just another standard regular season game in June 2026. This was supposed to be a monumental culture moment for the league, but instead, it turned into an organizational wake.
On a night where Caitlin Clark's debuting her shoes, you would think that there would be more fight in this team. Now, as lazy and as bad as we were playing for most of this game, we were making our shots, shooting 56% and still losing. That goes to show how uninspired defensively we really were.
Think about that contrast. Caitlin Clark is debuting her brand new player-exclusive signature shoe line on the floor, an economic milestone that only a handful of players in hardwood history ever reach, and her teammates look like they forgot game day was even on the schedule. While Clark poured in 26 points and dropped 7 assists through 3 quarters, shooting an efficient 60% true shooting percentage, the rest of the roster looked completely checked out. Even more shocking was the defensive effort. The Fever allowed the Atlanta Dream to turn the paint into a literal layup line, giving up easy bucket after easy bucket despite shooting 56% from the field themselves. You cannot win professional basketball games when your defensive identity can't stop a parked car.
Stephanie White sucks, but we knew that. Angel Reese has 4 fouls at halftime. Stephanie White, in her infinite wisdom, says, you know what? We're not going to challenge Angel Reese. We're just going to go to everybody that Angel Reese is not guarding and not try to put her even further in foul trouble.
This is where the tactical breakdown gets highly controversial, and it directly implicates head coach Stephanie White. Atlanta Dream star Angel Reese picked up her 4th personal foul by halftime, putting her in severe foul trouble and making her a walking target for any aggressive offense. Yet, instead of hunting that matchup and forcing the referees to make a decision, Stephanie White completely pulled back, instructing the offense to avoid Reese entirely. It is a head-scratching coaching decision that abandoned the standard pick-and-roll identity of modern basketball. By opting out of testing a compromised defender, Indiana allowed Atlanta to stay aggressive, completely letting Reese off the hook while she continued to produce heavily on the offensive end.
Caitlin Clark, 26-7 at the end of the 3rd quarter. In the 4th quarter, Stephanie said, you know what? We're just not going to let you take any shots or facilitate any more and let Kelsey.
But the coaching issues didn't stop with the lack of adjustments on Angel Reese. After Caitlin Clark single-handedly kept the team afloat with 26 points through 3 quarters, the 4th quarter strategy shifted entirely away from her. The coaching staff effectively froze out their primary playmaker, leaving her with only a single field goal attempt in the final 10 minutes of play. Instead of leveraging Clark's gravity and hot hand to facilitate or close out the game, the ball was repeatedly forced into isolation sets. Kelsey Mitchell did come alive in the final frame to finish with 26 points of her own, but the complete lack of motion, pace, and fast break opportunities made the half-court offense incredibly easy to predict and defend.
Well, Stephanie White refuses to challenge his calls. Stephanie White would rather challenge calls that she knows she's not going to win than challenge calls that she actually has a possibility of getting overturned. It's interesting. Yeah, we'll just sit here and let Caitlin Clark get in foul trouble, and when Sophie Cunningham picks up her 2nd personal, then we'll challenge that. But if Caitlin Clark's picking up her 3rd or 4th or her 5th, we'll just leave it.
Now let's talk about the misuse of the challenge whistle, because this highlights a massive structural flaw in how the bench managed this game. Caitlin Clark found herself plagued by foul trouble early, a situation that actively required the head coach to step in and protect her superstar. Yet Stephanie White explicitly refused to challenge those critical personal fouls. choosing instead to save her reviews for low-stakes situations like a second personal foul on role players later in the game. When your generational talent is picking up her third, fourth, and fifth fouls, that is precisely when a coaching staff must risk a timeout to challenge the call. Leaving those whistles unchecked not only disrupted Clark's aggressive rhythm, but forced assistant coach Brienne January to scramble on the defensive end with zero continuity.
But Monique Billings and Lexi Hall, no call, no shows as far as I'm concerned. For every game this season except one, Monique Billings has been a no call, no show. For every game this season except two, Lexi Hall has been a no call, no show.
While the coaching decisions were highly questionable, the roster's depth pieces provided absolutely no support. Monique Billings and Lexi Hull, who represent a combined financial investment of $1.6 million in cap space, put up what can only be described as a dual no-call, no-show performance. If you told a casual fan looking at the box score that neither player stepped onto the hardwood today, they would easily believe you. Aside from a few flashes earlier in the season, this lack of bench production has become a recurring nightmare for Indiana. Aaliyah Boston did her best to anchor the low block in the second half, scoring 14 of her 23 points after the intermission. But a team cannot survive when its high-priced role players are completely invisible for macroscopic stretches of the game.
Sophie Cunningham, 12 points. Sophie Cunningham had 10 points at the first half. She has 2 in the second. She really took one shot the rest of the second half, outside of her last minute, her last 3-second three-pointer as the game's ending. Sophie Cunningham had 4 shots. She was 3 for 3 in the first half.
The misuse of personnel extended deep into the rotation, leaving analysts completely baffled by the minutes distribution. Sophie Cunningham came out completely on fire in the first half, hunting her shots and racking up 10 quick points on a perfect 3 for 3 shooting performance. Yet, inexplicably, she was rewarded by getting only a single shot attempt for the remainder of the entire second half, finishing the night with just 12 points. Where is the operational awareness to ride the hot hand? Instead of running baseline screens or getting Cunningham clean looks on the perimeter, the offense devolved into a stagnant sequence of dribble-heavy possessions. Players like Maya Hollingshed only saw 8 minutes of floor time. Saxton played a mere 3 minutes, and Tiasha Harris was capped at 13 minutes with absolutely zero tactical explanation given post-game.
The offense is ISO, ISO, U ISO, I ISO, U ISO, I ISO, U ISO, I ISO, U ISO, I ISO. There's no pace, no fast breaks. They're just hitting shots in half court playing ISO basketball. There's no motion, there's no read and react,
This brings us to the ultimate reality of what this franchise is facing moving forward. The baseline analytics show that this roster won 4 straight games recently, creating a temporary illusion of success. But if you strip away the surface-level wins and look at how those games were actually won, it becomes glaringly obvious that individual brilliance from Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham completely bailed out a broken, uninspired system. Going through the motions might get you past struggling teams on occasion, but it builds zero long-term identity. The offense has completely devolved into static, isolation-heavy possessions with zero ball movement or reading and reacting. Defensively, the lack of physicality and willingness to impose their collective will makes them look incredibly soft against aggressive front courts. When a team shows no fire, no internal spark, and an absolute refusal to have each other's backs on a milestone night, the responsibility falls squarely on the leadership. Indiana has a quick turnaround rematch against this exact same Atlanta Dream squad on Saturday, and it will serve as a massive litmus test for the locker room. If they show up with this exact same lackadaisical energy, major organizational changes will be completely unavoidable. So who bears the real blame for this embarrassing breakdown? Is it Stephanie White for her baffling refusal to challenge fouls and her decision to freeze out her best offensive weapon, or does it fall on the players who failed to bring their A-game on their teammates' historic night? You can't blame both. Pick a side in the comments below, hit that like button, and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss our deep dive WNBA coverage. Until next time, take it easy.